Well, we're ready to rock and roll. We just got done watching Payback 2023 and a very hectic weekend for yours truly. It's a damn. We were sitting there watching this show. Wrestling is in a boom period right now. CM Punk just got fired. There's a lot going on. All Out
Yeah,
is tomorrow at the time of recording. I won't be able to watch that live, so we're delaying that review. But fuck it, here
I
we
was
are.
gonna wait.
Payback.
Yeah,
Oh,
I was
can't
gonna
wait to
say
talk about
there's a
this.
lot of wrestling to watch and review right now, and a little scheduling thing. Be patient with us. We will be reviewing All Out, just not right away. It's not going to be up the night of like this review is. Also, by the way, there's a lot of coverage for going for Payback right now. So I'm gonna take a page out of Good Mike Works book and say, if you're choosing us for your Payback coverage, thank you. We really much appreciate that.
Yes.
We know everyone and their mothers is reviewing the show right now, so we appreciate you guys clicking on our video. I got like 3 people I need to listen to after this, including Good Mike Work when he gets to talk about the show.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, we will get to All Out. We will talk about CM Punk. We're not going to talk about it here because if we do, we're going to be here all night. We're here to talk about WWE, and this was, this show is very fresh in our minds. And the first thing I want to say is Triple H has been knocking out of the park with every single pay-per-view. I
Every
thought
time.
SummerSlam was the weakest out of his pay-per-views, but even then, that was a very good show. And Triple H doesn't deserve all the credit. Every single man and woman he's been booking on this shows has been delivering. It's crazy because when you watch, we have an AEW pay-per-view and a WWE pay-per-view. We had an AEW pay-per-view last weekend, and now I'm watching Raw and SmackDown and NXT and Dynamite and Collision, which I'm probably going to watch when we're done here. It really puts into perspective why I like each promotion and their reasons. One thing I like about WWE a lot more than AEW is that I feel like AEW is very one dimensional in its storytelling, but WWE has so many different layers that I love professional wrestling, but sometimes I don't want to just watch a professional wrestling match. There's a reason why we call professional wrestling a soap opera drama. And WWE just lately has been on it, firing on all cylinders because here's the thing. As much as I love my V triggers and my German suplexes and the brain busters and the flip pile drivers, I love the drama in pro wrestling. And I feel like you need to layer on the drama and the storytelling and the soap opera aspect with the great moves and spots, or else you're going to be missing something. Just I feel like sometimes with AEW stories, and this is not a knock on AEW. If I didn't like AEW, I wouldn't be spending $100 on both of their pay-per-views this weekend. But I just feel
Yeah.
like, it's very dry when I'm watching AEW storytelling. But WWE here with a lot of these matches, like you could feel the passion. You could
Well,
feel the passion in that cage match. You could feel the passion in Night and Miz. You
yes.
could feel the passion with the Steel City Street Fight, and you could feel the passion in that main event that we got.
We absolutely do. To quote one of the all-time greats, I'm so glad that we got wrestling, to really tide us over and make us happy. Wrestling is not a love story. It's a fairy tale for masochists, a comedy for people who criticize punchlines, a fantasy most can't understand, a spectacle no one can deny. And nobody does it like WWE. I mean, I love AEW and everything, but WWE's the staple. It's been around for what, like over 50 years at this point. This is where it's at. And with Triple H behind the pen, he gives you good quality shows. And Payback, no exception to that. This show
Again, let me say this again one more time. I do not hate AEW. I like AEW. And you know what? It's very nice that when WWE is getting on my fucking nerves, I can switch over to AEW. And when AEW is really pissing me off, I can switch over to WWE. And if both are, guys, there's so much out there. There's New Japan. There's Impact Wrestling. There's Major League Wrestling. There's wrestling out there
Impact.
for everybody. Impact's great. Shut the fuck up. Shut
Yeah.
up. Alex Shelley's the world champion. It's great.
For sure. But this pay-per-view emanates live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Fuck the Steelers, by the way. The first match is, fittingly enough, in the Steel City, a steel cage match. A feud that has been going on since after WrestleMania. Here it is wrapping up. The man Becky Lynch going up against the living legend Trish Stratus. Thank you, Trish, for doing this cage match, first of all.
Thank you, Trish.
Yeah, Trish walks out to the ring, and she's all by her lonesome. I feel like Zoe Stark was written off with that Falls Count Anywhere match, and Trish was just going to be out there on her own. But no, if you know WWE formula cage matches, you know that the cage doesn't really do a damn thing to prevent interference. But I mean, holy hell. If you thought this feud was growing stale, if you thought this feud was boring, I know a lot of people did. These two ladies went out there and they gave you one of the better steel cage matches you can ever remember. This was a fantastic match. These ladies killed it. They killed it.
Probably my favorite women's cage match that I have seen.
Oh, easily. I mean, there's not that many to choose from, but I mean, alas, this is a pretty high bar to pass.
If there's two things about this match I really liked, is that they told a story and it was physical. This is one of the most physical women's matches. It's probably the most physical match since Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair from WrestleMania.
Trish had a giant knot on her forehead for the majority of this match too, which was ugly.
I definitely want to go back and rewatch the match to find out what happened there. But again, Trish Stratus got this nasty knot on her forehead. It was bruising up pretty badly. A lot of good spots. And if there's one thing I have to commend Trish for, is her selling in this match was out of this world. Like she was getting dropped on her freaking head and flopping around. Probably the best spot of the match was they were trying to climb over the cage. And I noticed while they were fighting up there, Trish Stratus was hooking her ankles into like the top fixture, the scaffold of the steel cage. And Becky Lynch nails her with a punch, and she just dangles backwards. And she's hanging off the side of the cage, very reminiscent of Triple H and Randy Orton from Judgment Day 2008, where Triple H was holding on to Randy Orton, and Orton's feet were dangling off the side of the cage, just to give you a real sense of, holy shit, this man could fall at any second. But that was really impressive. But when Lynch pulled Stratus back into the ring, she hits her with a massive superplex off the top of the cage.
Goodness gracious.
Lynch's feet are on the top rope and Stratus's feet are off the cage, but this damn near folded both ladies in half. And I'm just sitting here thinking, it's 2023 and Trish Stratus does not have to do this, but no, she's doing this for us. And again, thank you, Trish.
Thank you, Trish. Yeah, and it seems like Trish is sticking around for a while too. Trish gives an avalanche bulldog to Becky Lynch also. That was all before the big superplex as well, which is just even more impressive. Trish lands, like, it's not a very comfortable landing if you do an avalanche bulldog. If you're a pro wrestler and you attempt to do that, good Lord, like, like all the respect to you for your toughness. Becky Lynch and Trish are exchanging old finishers of Hall of Famers. Trish Stratus hits Becky with a Widow's Peak, which is an homage to Trish's old rival Victoria. And Becky counters in return with a Twist of Fate, which this feud all started because Trish attacked Lita backstage. Great callback, because Lita and Victoria had the first ever women's steel cage match in WWE history. And Michael Cole noted that on commentary. Who knew that Michael Cole was an encyclopedia of wrestling knowledge in there?
It's crazy when you take the leash off of him, what this man is capable of. And there's a reason why he is the best play-by-play commentator in the business right now. And this is near the end of the match where things start getting a little wonky, but I think it really added to the layering of the story. You know, steel cage isn't going to keep anybody out. So while Becky Lynch is trying to climb over one side of the cage, Zoe Starks comes and tries to aid her mentor in dragging her out of the cage. And there's this great spot where Lynch catches her. And we're going to get to this, good sir. But Stark has Stratus's hands, is trying to pull her out, and Lynch has Stratus's feet, and she's trying to pull her back into the ring. And they were going to stretch this poor girl out like she was a pretzel, because they were like both fighting over her. But Lynch is finally able to get Stratus back into the ring, and Stark slams the cage door into into Lynch's face. And you think that's where Stratus is going to get the dirty roll up. Lynch is able to kick out. But now Stark is inside the cage.
Great near falls, too. Sorry to cut you off, but really great near falls. Like, my word, it was unreal. These two had the crowd in the palm of their hands. Zoe Stark runs interference, and Becky Lynch traps Zoe in the cage along with her and Trish. So it's essentially a handicap match, you would think. But much like the four-way match at All In, the story of the ending is that Zoe Stark is a fuck up, and she is constantly screwing things up in Trish's favor. Like, Becky Lynch is, making her big comeback, and then there's eventually an avalanche manhandle slam off the top to definitively end this feud. Becky pins Trish clean in the middle. This was awesome. This was a great
This
opener.
was
4.5
really
stars.
fucking good. Four
Four
and a
and a
half
half.
stars.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give it 4 stars. It was very, very, very solid. I love this a lot. This was miles better than their match at Night of Champions. I feel like I
Big
don't know
time.
what was going on that first match, but these two ladies just clicked so well in this match. And another thing, the psychology that I really like, I like that Lynch and Stratus wrestled 3/4 of the match. Just them two. And then Zoe Stark didn't play a factor until the very end. It's not like the false count anywhere match they had on Raw between Lynch and Stark, where Stratus, it was a 2-on-1 handicap match there. It was very reminiscent of John Cena and The Miz at Over the Limit 2012, where that was basically a handicap match.
Yeah.
But, and then
Cena beats both
like,
of them up.
Again, you go back to Raw and Stark accidentally shoves Stratus off the set through a table. That kind of like sets off the animosity. But earlier on in that match, this was totally unplanned, but I feel like it lent its hand in this story. Trish Stratus is trying to help Stark by throwing chairs into the ring. She throws a chair over the top rope and it hits Stark in the face by accident. But
Nice.
Stark's reaction was priceless. She looks at Stratus and she goes, "What the hell? You just threw a chair in my face." So I feel like all this stuff was really building up. And then after Becky Lynch won the match, she celebrates, she leaves. I noticed Stratus and Stark are still in the ring. And if you've seen any mentor protege storyline, you know exactly where this is going. And I knew no matter which way this went, it was going to lead to a Zoe Stark face turn. And that's exactly what we got. Stratus shoves Stark off. Stark hits Stratus with the Z360, effectively breaking up that pairing. And again, I hate to make this comparison, but it is very much like The Miz and Alex Riley from 2011.
Oh, it very much is. And now I can't really unsee that comparison at this point. I mean, granted, I feel like Trish Stratus could wrestle circles around the Miz, all due respect. Like Trish put on a freaking 4.5-star match, and I can't remember the last time the Miz had a 4.5-star match.
In 2023, and Trish Stratus, again, I was so happy when she decided to come back, like kind of semi full time here, because I feel like it wasn't fair. She grew up in the wrong era. She wrestled in the wrong era. Now she's looking at the women's roster now, and she is licking her chops, and she is working with the best women's wrestlers of today.
Yes.
Let's talk about Zoe Stark for a second.
Well, so what do you want to talk about with Zoe Stark? Why is she on you?
I feel like I agreed with you in the beginning that her call up was way too early. Even though she was floundering at NXT a bit, she is one of those homegrown talents, as we like to say, that WWE kind of just plucked her from the public. I don't know anything about Stark's background, so correct me if I'm wrong. Not a lot of prior wrestling experience. She was homegrown in the Performance Center. She was doing all right for herself in NXT. I feel like she never really found her niche, and then all of a sudden, she's on Monday Night Raw. I do think pairing her up with Trish Stratus was 100% the right decision, because who better to learn from than arguably the greatest women's wrestler of all time?
And again, Trish wasn't full-time either, so to give her a representative, I guess, and a surrogate, if you will, while she spends some mom time away from the ring,
I do think this was a bit rushed. I do think Stark could have easily benefited. The longer she stayed with Stratus, the better. It's kind of like with Omos and AJ Styles. Yes, this has to be the end at some point, but Omos is learning from the greatest male wrestler in WWE at the time. And now, again, I feel like this does seem a little rushed. Now we're going to thrust Stark into a babyface role after she's been heel for 6-7 months, counting her NXT run. Now for her, I feel like it's really sink or swim. In my honest, humble opinion, if the fans like Stark, she will succeed. If they don't like her, she's going to fail. I don't think there's really much else for her to do right now, because I feel like they kind of rush this.
Yeah, I guarantee you she becomes just another face on the roster by WrestleMania. Guarantee you.
And I don't want that for her, but I feel like it's out of her control at this point. I don't want to say it's sink or swim for her, but I feel like she is a solid wrestler. But unless she completely changes the game, turns the whole business upside down, which is hard to do, I feel like her success is going to rely on the fans.
Yeah. I mean, at least she didn't stiff anybody tonight. So, I mean, at least she's improving in that regard. But yeah.
If you're going to judge her based off her stiffing someone, there's a lot of wrestlers I would like to bring up.
Oh yeah,
that you shouldn't have liked
Nia
either.
Jax. I mean, at least Zoe Stark is better than Nia Jax, that's for sure. But I just don't want Zoe Stark to become another one of those, like Lacey Evans, for example. When they tried to push Lacey Evans as a babyface, like fans didn't really get behind it because it was so rushed, you know. And this is kind of what it's making me think of here. You know,
At
Zoe's
least
pretty
she's not.
inexperienced in relation to the rest of the women's roster. Lacey Evans certainly more inexperienced than the rest of the women's roster at the time she was pushed as a babyface. But I don't know, man.
That is a
I don't
very
know.
good. That's a very good comparison. I feel like if Vince was in charge, she would 100% be a Vince girl, and Vince would want to push her to the moon. Triple
Zoe
H,
Stark would have
sure,
been champion by now. She would have been
I'm
a
sure
champion by
Triple
now.
H very much likes Zoe Stark because if he didn't, he wouldn't have brought her up to the main roster and put her in such a prominent role. But I feel like, again, Triple H isn't in the market of rushing things. I feel like if he just takes his time with Zoe Stark, you know, put her in a feud with Trish Stratus. It's obviously what's going for next. Maybe Trish Stratus wants to put Zoe Stark over before she rides off into the sunset. They could have a TV feud with her. They could have a match at Fastlane. You know, Trish Stratus can only do so much to get this girl over. So we'll see where that goes from there.
Well, you also don't want to overload the Fastlane card, and I do have a few ideas of what they could do at Fastlane. That's another topic for another time, obviously, because it's next month. But you don't want to overload the Fastlane card. And Trish Stratus and Zoe Stark, at this point in Zoe Stark's career, sounds like a Raw match. Like, it sounds to me like it's a Raw match, but
and
you never know.
If you put this on pay-per-view, it could have the potential of being a Miz versus Riley at Capital Punishment. Which is not a bad match by any means.
I forgot about that fucking match, man.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Alex Riley went over in that one, didn't he?
He did.
My God. Yeah. That shows you how fast life has whizzed me by. I just graduated middle school at the time Capital Punishment 2011 came around, but
I was enjoying my summer break as a freshly graduated senior from high school when that feud was going on. But we digress.
Yeah.
Up next, speaking of blasts from the past and our childhood, John Cena has been recently announced that he is going to be booked on every single SmackDown for the next 8 weeks. This is obviously because of the
writer's strike.
Yeah, thank you, writer's strike. I hope the strike goes on longer so we can get Cena on a weekly basis until WrestleMania.
Well, we also don't want to postpone Deadpool 3 any more than it needs to.
I know, yeah, that's that's a different topic for a different time. But Cena is booked to be a mainstay on SmackDown for the next 8 weeks. This opens up, after this pay-per-view, this opens up a plethora, and I mean a plethora of opportunities and ideas and so much they could do with Cena now that he is going to be a weekly appearing guy on SmackDown. And he was on SmackDown last night on Friday, had a great interaction with Jimmy Uso, and it was announced on the it was announced there that Cena was going to be the host of Payback. So it was very interesting to see what he was going to do here. Cena comes out to rile up the crowd, and he announces, apparently this was announced on the pre-show, but I didn't watch the pre-show, that he was going to be the special guest referee for LA Knight versus The Miz. And the minute I heard that, I thought, Cena is here to endorse Knight. And what better stamp of approval could you get than getting endorsement from what WWE calls the greatest wrestler of all time?
They are giving LA Knight, the ball, and they're running. He's running with it, man. Like, the reactions he's getting every single show, it gradually is getting louder and louder. And we kind of started to see the evolution of the LA Knight babyface rise to the top. Over WrestleMania weekend, everybody was doing the thing, you know, in the atrium, in the stadium. He wasn't even on the show. So LA Knight is not just a fad.
Yeah, it's like Triple H heard us Mania weekend, and he just goes, I hear you guys. You need to be patient, but I hear you guys. I'm not ignoring you. Just, you need to be patient. And if that's one thing Triple H has made us do as fans this past year and a half, he's made us wait. He's going to force patience onto us. No more instant gratification.
It should also be noted that The Miz did cut a promo with John Cena. He's complaining that Cena is going to be a biased official towards LA Knight because Cena is not a Miz fan. If you remember WrestleMania 27, you know that they are not friends. They main evented that show together. Miz cheated to beat John Cena to retain the WWE Championship that night. This match,
and Cena, a tale as old as time, and Miz and Cena have a pretty funny exchange.
He compared it to Rock and Austin, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
sarcastically.
Oh,
Miz is roasting Cena about like, yo, look at your attire. You're not dressed to be a host. I was the host of WrestleMania, and you don't have a referee shirt. You can't be a special guest referee. Cena has the tightest referee shirt ever tucked in his pocket, and he puts it on. So Cena is the special guest referee. LA Knight comes out to a massive pop. And before I gush about LA Knight, let me gush about The Miz, because The Miz, no matter how many years he's wrestled, he is never going to get the credit he deserves, because he is a professional. He is a solid worker. This man is adding moves to his arsenal on a weekly basis. He was pulling moves out in this match that I have never seen before. And The Miz's role in this match, no matter what, was to get LA Knight over. And Miz got LA Knight over. It takes two to tango.
Yeah,
and
it takes two to tango.
Miz was the best dance partner for LA Knight on this night.
Yeah,
no pun intended.
It seems to me like anybody who works with The Miz finds themselves in a really easy match. The Miz just like, he's very safe. He doesn't hurt anybody in there. He's a solid hand. He's been a really solid hand since he debuted. Like, he was a tough enough guy. We just talked about him at Armageddon 04. Like,
we are talking about the man that was trying to be the gatekeeper for AJ Styles in 2016. And AJ Styles backhanded a tooth out of Miz's mouth. And he just smiled at Styles backstage and said, like, nah, man, you're good.
Yeah.
This is what the business is about.
Miz keeps going. And he finishes the match. But Miz also, it should be noted, they are in Pittsburgh. The Miz, because he is an asshole in character with tiny balls, he is wearing the colors of his Cleveland Browns, who are a huge rival of the Steelers. And this crowd did not like that The Miz was wearing brown and orange on his attire. And I'm like,
a heat magnet.
Yes.
He is a fucking heat magnet, and I love him. And I've been a Misfit since 2006, and I'm proud of it.
There you go. How much do we want to gush about LA Knight here? How much time do we have?
Here's the thing. I am so tired of every single reason and excuse to why LA Knight is not being pushed. Oh, he's too old. Some of your biggest stars in the company are pushing 45 right now. AJ Styles, Lashley, John Cena, Finn Balor. That's not a good enough excuse. Oh, LA Knight has attitude problems. Well, one of the biggest fucking assholes in the business just got fired for attitude problems. So if it's really that bad, then you would have done something about it a long time ago. Oh, he's not that good of a wrestler. This man does a vertical leap, top rope, belly to belly, almost every single match. This man bumped his ass off at Money in the Bank for those other 7 participants.
He did.
I watched this guy wrestle Abyss and took a thumbtack spot in TNA.
Yeah.
Don't sit there and fucking tell me LA Knight is not that good of a wrestler.
He's a freaking great wrestler. He's a pro. He is a pro, man. And the pops that he is getting every single night, there's just something so endearing about LA Knight and all of his catchphrases and his presentation. We just can't help but be gravitated towards this guy. And we can't help but want to root for him.
That Michael Cole calls it the yeah movement, because it is very reminiscent of Bryan Danielson in WWE.
That's what it is.
The WWE didn't want us to cheer for him, but we said, fuck you, we're going to cheer for him anyway. And just the emotion that LA Knight is bringing out of this crowd, it's like 2014 all over again.
Yeah, except Triple H is in charge. And Triple H knows what he's doing, and he listens to the fans. This match went 15 minutes, which I feel like, given the foregone conclusion that LA Knight was beating The Miz here, because I don't think The Miz could even buy a win in the year 2023. Like, I feel like the match went...
I don't know, man. He pinned Tommaso Ciampa a few weeks ago on Raw in a street fight, which was really fucking good.
Oh, man, I must have missed that part. But LA Knight and The Miz have, they have really good chemistry together, man. Like, Miz goes for the it kicks, and he goes M-I-Z, yeah.
I fucking loved it. The build to this feud has been really good, despite it's Raw versus SmackDown, but that's beside the point.
LA Knight,
because this was a very good match.
If you ever hear LA Knight in interviews, you always hear people asking him, oh, you sound a lot like The Rock when you just, talk normally, and he always kind of laughs it off. His impressions of other wrestlers, like, I don't think there's anybody better in the business. If you saw the Bray Wyatt tribute show, the promo that he cut on The Miz on that show, it's like a pitch perfect Miz impression. And I'm like, I don't think I've ever heard anybody try to attempt a Miz impression, but he pulled it off. He pulled it off.
That's another thing I don't like hearing. Oh, he's just a ripoff of Austin and The Rock. Okay. Every
And he's
single wrestler has taken inspiration from another wrestler. There is nobody out there that is 100% original. Let's use a music analogy for a second. If you are a rock and roll fan or a hip hop music fan, when next time you buy an album, open up that little booklet and go into the credits of the song. Every single song is a sample of another song. Nothing is 100% original. Your favorite wrestler of all time, Nature Boy Ric Flair, stole his nickname from another wrestler.
It's a great analogy. It's a great analogy. You know,
so
no
everybody takes bits and pieces of somebody else's character. So again, people are making up excuses for LA Knight at this point.
Well, and the difference is LA Knight is also legitimately entertaining and funny. You know, like you can't help but love his promos.
If LA Knight was out there saying, if you smell what the night is cooking, if you was saying LA 316 said, I just whooped your ass, now that's a ripoff. That is 100% a ripoff. But no, LA Knight is taking inspiration from those guys because those guys obviously, like us, have influenced us in our lives in pro wrestling.
Yes. So Cena, as the referee, did, I think, a solid job. He was overselling the shit out of a lot of these near falls. Miz does hit LA Knight with a skull-crushing finale, and Cena was really, really, really milking the near fall count there. It was so fun.
You talk about foregone conclusion. Yes, but I love how Miz made you think for a split second because he hit his finisher that he could actually win this match.
Yeah, but everybody kicks out of the skull-crushing finale now, so... they go a couple more minutes. Miz tries mocking John Cena doing the 5-knuckle shuffle thing. Much better than CM Punk, mind you.
Thank you.
LA Knight kips up. He goes for the LA Knight elbow that the crowd does perfectly in unison. Then he hits his finisher, what I like to now call the butt force trauma, and he pins the Miz after 15 minutes. Solid match. I enjoyed it. It was fun. It was really fun.
I wanted to give it 3 3/4 just because of the fan involvement. But
Really?
I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. This was a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
I'm going to go 3 1/4. I feel like you could have trimmed this down like a couple minutes just because, again, predictability factor. And I feel like it was overstaying its welcome a bit. But I can't deny I had fun. I had a lot of fun. And I think the added element of Cena being the special guest referee, you know, not only does that add to LA Knight's legitimacy as a babyface and the endorsement of Cena after the match, shaking LA Knight's hand. LA Knight was hesitant at first. He was like, you almost cost me the match, buddy. You want respect? I'll shake your hand anyway.
Cena almost came to blows in this match because Knight almost hit Cena. But while that was happening, I turned to Zack and I said, hear me out. I pointed at the screen and I said, WrestleMania. Because if we're going to get John Cena back on a regular basis, and we don't know, again, all jokes aside, if this strike goes on as long as people think it's going to be, Cena could just be playing this by ear. And he's telling WWE, hey, I'll sign me to 8 weeks. I guarantee you for 8 weeks in a row, I will be on Friday Night SmackDown. But if things aren't going to get better anytime soon on a play-by-play basis, he could say, you know what? Let's extend that by another month.
Might as well.
And if they can keep Cena busy, which, again, there are so many opponents he could wrestle on SmackDown right now.
Put Cena in the War Games match this year.
They could.
Why not?
Cena's not going to say no to anything. I mean, the only thing keeping Cena from wrestling is acting. And so if he can't act right now, he's going to fucking wrestle.
Give Cody Rhodes what he wants before Cena goes back to Hollywood.
Yeah.
Cena said he couldn't guarantee it, and now he can.
And here's the thing. Let's say by some miracle the strike is over in 8 weeks. Okay, Cena can go back to doing his thing. You can give him a ring around January time. He comes back there February. Boom, he can start a program with LA Knight.
Yeah,
totally. And 100%.
I wouldn't mind a WrestleMania program between those guys in a true, pure babyface versus babyface matchup. That would be very entertaining and a lot of fun.
Because that would be a true passing of the torch.
Yes.
I know it's been like a million years since John Cena has won a match, but Cody Rhodes and LA Knight, those are two guys that could really use the Cena rub. But the thing is, Cena could lose 15 matches in a row, and we're still going to pop huge for him when he comes back.
He's still going to be announced as the greatest of all time by Mike Rome, but in any regard, fun match. Up next, we have another SmackDown match coming up, Tomas. It is It is going to be for the United States Championship. I'm so sorry. I lost my place. Yeah. It is Rey Mysterio. You heard me right. Rey Mysterio defending the United States Championship against the now former champion Austin Theory, who had held the belt for 9 months, I think. And
Yeah,
since
it
beating
was.
John Cena at WrestleMania, Theory really didn't do anything with the title. He was drafted to SmackDown, and it's almost like bleh, bleh.
Here's the thing. I am a Theory defender. I think he has a fantastic look. He has a lot of charisma. He is a heat magnet in his own right. He is a very solid wrestler. He has had such an up and down career since getting called up to the main roster. He was the last Vince guy before Vince, hung it up. And I feel like Vince was doing his Vince thing and he wanted to speed track this guy to the world championship. When the
Yep.
power switched over to Triple H said, you know what, Theory? You are good, but you're not ready. So I'm going to knock you down a peg. You're going to lose that briefcase. I'm going to give you the United States Championship, but you need to fucking earn it this time. And for the first, while Theory was still on Raw up to WrestleMania, he did earn it. He was having bangers with Lashley and Seth Rollins, and he retained the Elimination Chamber. But like you said, Zach, after he beat John Cena in the opener of WrestleMania, he didn't really do anything.
No.
It really didn't go anywhere. He went to SmackDown. He got some bullshit victories over Sheamus. He started feuding with the LWO, but
yeah, so that leads me into how in the hell did we get to this match? So there was a U.S. title eliminator tournament to determine Austin Theory's new #1 contender. This tournament was won by none other than Santos Escobar. But Santos Escobar was attacked by Austin Theory in the back, and there was a big road case where Santos was being attacked, and Theory closes the lid on Santos's leg, effectively breaking it, which means that Theory is not going to defend the title tonight. He is getting out of his work. He's getting out of a title defense. He's holding on to it. Adam Pearce says, "Nuh-uh," and he names Rey Mysterio the replacement, and Rey Mysterio goes in and beats Austin Theory on free TV. So here we are. Here's the rematch.
So to kind of piggyback this with the LA Knight stuff, I know a lot of people, including myself, that were very angry that LA Knight did not get this championship match because when you think about pushes, the first thing that your mind goes to is put a championship on this guy. And as cool as that would have been, look at what they're doing with LA Knight right now. There's more than one way to skin a cat. And I feel like LA Knight is kind of above the United States Championship right now. So
Very
I feel
much
like,
so.
So Triple H has another plan in mind, and he is a Santos Escobar guy. And why wouldn't you be? Santos Escobar is fucking awesome. He's an amazing wrestler. I did not think I was going to like him this much as a babyface. The LWO is the most over faction in the company right now. They're selling merch like hotcakes.
More over than the Judgment Day?
Babyface wise.
Fair enough. Yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Hold on.
A lot better.
Hold on. Over the Judgment Day.
LWO is the top merch sellers faction wise.
Okay.
In WWE right now.
Fair enough.
And pushing a faction within the Latino community. Let me tell you, us Latinos, when we see a Latino guy getting pushed, we're all over that shit because it doesn't happen a lot. But and you can see where this is going. You can see this is going towards a Rey and Escobar feud. You can kind of like read in between the lines.
Mm-hmm.
So
I called it, didn't I? I called it.
Yeah, they're treading water with this right now. They're letting it, develop and everything. And this is you don't really get your token rematch for championships anymore. So I thought this was very interesting that not only was this match happening, that it was happening on pay-per-view. And let me get this out of the way right now. This should have happened on SmackDown, and Gunta and Chad Gable should have happened on this night because this match, it was just there.
Yeah, it was there. I mean, it was solid. I mean, there's nothing wrong with the wrestling that these two are going under, but Rey Mysterio just won the title. And again, like what are the odds that Theory actually regains the championship in this match when you know that Santos is going to turn on Rey down the line?
Now, this is a foregone conclusion. We just got Theory as the United States champion for 8 or 9 months. And let me tell you, that is the last thing we want as fans is to see him win the championship back. And there, people saying, where does Theory go from here? I have a very good idea for Theory. Lately, he's been aligning himself with one Grayson Waller, who we'll be talking about later in the show. You put those guys as a tag team, they play off of each other really fucking well. They're both kind of the same douchey, arrogant heels that, would be the best friends forever. And I think you can do other things with Theory. he doesn't have to be a singles guy. You can put him in a tag team, but this match
Yeah.
was fine. I think
Theory and
Ray and
Grayson
Theory,
Waller would be a pretty random tag team, though. I don't know about you.
I think it's one of those random tag teams that would work.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. I think Ray and Theory play off of each other very well. You're not gonna like this comparison, but it kind of reminds me of Ray and Dolph Ziggler's feud from 2009. I think these guys could.
Well, you know what's unbelievable is I actually much prefer Ray's matches with Dolph Ziggler over his matches with Theory, because at least there, that was before the time I had really gotten sick of Dolph Ziggler, and I was looking at Dolph as like, oh, this guy's got a lot of potential as a singles guy, like he could really rise to the top. His matches with Ray in 2009 were awesome.
Especially the SummerSlam one.
Ray is, you got to remember, Ray is also 47 years old. He's still in excellent shape, but at this point, he's like 13 years slower than he was in his matches against Dolph. So no wonder his matches aren't going to be as great as they were. But
you see the shit that Ray is pulling off in the ring at 46 years old, and it is fucking amazing. Also, it's really important to point out that Ray came out with the LWO, and they were all wearing, they were wearing Pittsburgh World Order shirts just to push that, get that cheap hometown pop. But their gear was all, and Ray's was very reminiscent of the New World Order. And Michael Cole had pointed out that this is the first time Ray has won his jacket with him and Dom in quite a while, but Dom's face was crossed out.
It was
very, very subtle foreshadowing that maybe this feud with Ray and Dom is not over.
Maybe.
Dom still blasts his father in any interview any chance he gets. It's kind of like, you got to peel back the layers to the story. Yeah, they're both on separate shows doing their thing, but don't think that,
he's still butthurt. That match was 5 months ago. Would he get a grip?
Yeah, but it's like, I like this, and Ray and Dom, they're gonna cross paths once again.
Yes.
And WWE kind of has an excuse now too, considering what happens later on in the show.
But this match barely got 10 minutes. Theory goes for the 8-town down. Ray was on his shoulders, and he rolls through with an inside cradle and pins him. And I look into his face, and I'm like,
considering this match was very
cradle.
underwhelming, it was just like, I don't like it, but whatever. What fucking ever. I would have loved to see the standard 619 into a frog splash, but it's what fucking ever.
Yeah.
Whatever.
It was fine.
I'll give it 2.5 stars.
I'm going to go 2 3/4 just because I thought the work was solid. I mean, crowd heat really wasn't there until Ray's comeback at the end, but what can you do? This is a pretty lesser built match on this card. I mean, I don't want to say it was lesser built because it was announced on the Bray Wyatt tribute show that this was going to be happening. But again, it's like, you saw Theory be the U.S. champion for 9 months. You want to see him do something different,
And again, considering how great the Gunther Gable feud is going on Raw, I would have much rather have seen this on the pay-per-view. But Gunther and Gable are actually popping a good rating during their segments on Raw. I can understand why WWE wanted to save Gunther and Gable for Raw as opposed to the pay-per-view.
Yes. There is a brief segment backstage. Becky Lynch is interviewed by Kathy Kelly. Becky Lynch is cut off by the NXT Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton. And Tiffany basically walks up to her. Becky makes a joke about how, oh man, shouldn't you be left in your Mattel box or whatever? Because, Tiffany Stratton is dressed up literally like a Barbie. And she basically Tiffany wants to apologize to Becky Lynch for mistaking her for a former NXT Women's Champion on a TV show. So, I mean, this could be a very real possibility of Becky Lynch versus Tiffany Stratton to try and pop ticket sales for No Mercy. So I can very much see that.
Those contracts are coming up. Got to impress USA. Got to keep putting those main stars. And, on one hand, sure, they're still holding up Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley, which is smart. You don't want to rush that. That's a possible Royal Rumble match right there. Maybe even WrestleMania. But, you have two options here. You send Becky Lynch to NXT to, she gives the rub to some of those girls like Rhea Ripley is right now. Or you could send her home and she could be a mom for a little bit. Just saying, give her a fucking break. You got nothing for her. Maybe she doesn't want to go home for a bit. And considering her and Seth Rollins are taking Bray Wyatt's death very hard, wouldn't hurt.
Yeah.
Just let them go home and just, cope.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But
But unfortunately, Seth Rollins is our world heavyweight champion, and Seth Rollins is a fucking workhorse. I'm pretty sure. Hope they're doing okay. Hope
yeah,
they're doing okay.
I hope everybody's doing okay. And I hope everybody's coping with that tragic news
Yeah,
as well as
yeah.
they can. But thankfully, we still have this show to tide us over and keep us distracted, including our freaking next match, Tomas. This match was
Woo!
awesome. This match
This
was
was
awesome.
my favorite match of the night. This was announced
Yes.
on Monday Night Raw. It is Damian Priest and Finn Balor of the Judgment Day challenging Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the undisputed WWE Tag Team titles in a Steel City street fight. I was
Yes.
so fucking ready for this when Owens and Zayn announced that this was going to be a street fight. Let these four men go absolutely nuts and go all over Pittsburgh and just absolutely kill each other. And that's
Yes.
what this match was. This was so fucking good.
It was a lot of freaking fun. These guys brawled all over the PPG Paints arena. They start off brawling up the ramp during the Judgment Day's entrance. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn have Finn Balor isolated in the ring. Kevin Owens takes off his normal Kevin Owens t-shirt that he normally wrestles in, and underneath it is a picture of Terry Funk on his t-shirt. This is what a Terry Funk hardcore match looks like. This is what it
Let
looks
me
like.
tell you, between AEW and WWE this week, not counting the Bray Wyatt tribute show, they have the Funkster is looking down on us, smiling right now because he knows he pioneered all of that crazy stuff that's been going on in these matches.
Finn Balor wears a trash can on his head, and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn take turns walloping Finn Balor while he's wearing the trash can with kendo sticks. That is a Terry Funk staple. He did it all the time, and I'm sure he was looking down on that spot, beaming with pride. So
I want to talk about this real quick.
Yeah.
You know, this is the difference, again, between AEW and WWE. In a street fight, sometimes I don't need the blood. I don't need the thumbtacks.
Oh boy.
I don't need the barbed wire. And you know what? I don't need the fucking skewers. These guys kept it very simple, and their weapon spots were great. And I loved every single minute of this. It's just, I don't know. I don't know if it's a preference thing. Okay, I know what it is. Because growing up, we grew up in this aggression era. We still got the blood. We still got those crazy spots. But as the PG era, as we were adapting to the PG era, I kind of realized I much prefer creativity in my spots over just sheer violence and blood.
Yeah.
I would much rather see, I don't know, great spot in the match. That's a good example. Damian Priest giving Sami Zayn a Falcon Arrow on a row of chairs.
Oh God, that was gnarly, wasn't it?
Much rather have that than a skewer spot.
Yes. So these guys brawl all over the crowd area, and these fans are just loving every minute of this match. So this is where Dominic Mysterio runs interference, by the way, and he goes out there and he's wearing the souvenir Payback I Was There t-shirt because the Judgment Day is on the poster for this show. And I was joking with Tomas. I was like, is this just proof that Dominic was actually at the event? Is this proof that he actually came to work? Give me my 500 check.
It's the Tommy Dreamer special. Just wear the current pay-per-view shirt because you don't have any merch of yourself.
Yep, there you go. But while Finn, Damian Priest, and Dominic are taking their time going over the game plan, that's because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn go through another costume change. They put on Pittsburgh Penguins hockey jerseys, and they have hockey sticks in their hands. It gets a big pop in the crowd. This is the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
We found out that I don't know what spot it was, but Kevin Owens got split.
Oh God. Yeah. No, his head, big old gash in there. They literally had to clean him up.
A pretty sick visual to see Owens and Zayn appear, and they have the hockey jerseys and the hockey sticks, and Kevin Owens is donning the crimson mask, as JR would say, and they chase Judgment Day all over the arena with these hockey sticks. They corner Balor on the ramp. They start beating him down with the hockey sticks. This was so good. I loved this match so fucking much.
Awesome.
I can't get over how much I fucking love this match. Oh, and then
a lot of fun.
They start brawling in the crowd again. Kevin Owens is getting into it with Dirty Dom Mysterio, and they set up for a spot where Dom is on a table. Owens climbs to the balcony of one of the sections. He goes for a swanton bomb, and he almost fucking misses it. his tailbone smacks the concrete, but thankfully his upper back and his neck were able to land on Dom and break the table.
Big,
Holy
gigantic swanton.
You want to be able to hug your kids, man. Don't know what I would do if
Goodness
he would have
gracious.
paralyzed himself on that spot.
Yeah, but Zayn also hits a blue thunder bomb on Finn Balor on a pile of steel chairs, which is another gnarly spot. That senton, as you said, Zayn is basically all by himself against the two heels. Zayn is going for it. He hits Owens, comes back somehow, some way, nails Priest with the Stone Cold Stunner. Zayn runs at Priest for the Haluva kick. He goes to pin Priest. JD McDonough, Judgment Day McDonough, pulls Sami Zayn out of the ring, and he takes the sickest announce table spot I think I've seen all year long.
For people who don't know who JD McDonough is, he's the former Jordan Devlin from NXT. He got called up to the main roster to be a man who's trying to get on Finn Balor's good side and get into the Judgment Day, but they're not taking any new members. So JD McDonough is basically, he's trying to prove himself.
You don't understand. You don't understand. There's an Irish person, an Australian person, two Hispanic people. Like, is there room for another pasty-looking Finn Balor kind of guy? They already have one.
This is the same guy that got chanted "You're not Balor" during NXT UK. So
that's right, because he's the Irish ace. He's not Finn Balor. The crowd was right.
He has hurdles to overcome, but like you said, Kevin Owens, and JD McDonough is tiny, by the way. He is a small man.
He's a cruiserweight.
So Owens was trying to pop up powerbomb through the announce table, but the table wasn't having it tonight. He said, you know what? I'm tired of you guys fucking breaking me every single other week.
God, it was brutal.
That made sense. That sentence made sense. Every other week you're trying to break me. You know what? Tonight, I ain't budging. And McDonough takes a fucking nasty flat back bump off the side of the table. And honestly, I just looked at him and was like, that was your initiation to the main roster, buddy. Welcome to Raw.
Big time. Big time it was. So Owens does that pop-up powerbomb onto the hood of the table. Out of nowhere, Rhea Ripley runs into frame and spears Kevin Owens through the barricade. I don't care what you say. Rhea Ripley is a freaking badass. Everybody wants to be like Rhea Ripley. Everybody wants to like hang out with Rhea Ripley. They want to hang with
I was Rhea Ripley.
You know, I wish I was Rhea Ripley. Yeah, no, she spears Kevin Owens in that oh my god moment that you see in all the WWE video games. Zayn and Balor get into it. Balor does all of his comeback offense. He goes up and he's like, yes, yeah. Then Balor is like a cringy dad at this point. He's so funny. He goes up to
after the point. Is this? Oh yeah, no. This was before. Yeah, go on. He's going for the coup de grace.
Balor jumps off for the coup de grace. Zayn avoids it. Zayn then hits Balor with the haluva kick. It's a 2 count because Dominic Mysterio hits Zayn square on the head with Senior Money in the Bank's briefcase. Zayn is out of it. Finn Balor rolls over. 1, 2, 3. And I was shocked. I was absolutely sitting there so surprised.
I knew this was going to happen just because, you know, Dom interfered. You know, they were going to fight them off. Then JD McDonough interfered. Okay, when Rhea Ripley came out, I was like, this is too much. It's 5-on-2 at this point.
There's 5 members of the Judgment Day against 2 Canadian dudes. There's no contest.
Here's the thing. Considering we were in the stadium for that main event when Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn won the tag team titles, my heart broke a little to see that this was the end of their reign.
Yeah, but at the same time, this was only like their second pay-per-view title defense since WrestleMania.
And you know what? It also makes sense too to why they randomly showed up on SmackDown last night and beat LWO, because it's like, you know what? This is the last time you're going to see them on SmackDown. Now that they've lost the tag team titles, they will be exclusive to Monday Night Raw.
Well, and now that the Judgment Day
we'll get to that.
Now that they hold all the gold. Yes. What? No, go ahead.
I want to talk about this visual first.
Yeah.
You know, Balor and Priest win the tag team titles, and this visual is amazing. You got Priest and Balor with all 4 tag team titles. You got Priest with the Money in the Bank briefcase. You got Rhea Ripley with the women's title. You got Dominic Mysterio with the NXT North American Championship. JD McDonough is not part of the group, so he doesn't count. He's still fucking dead from that announce table spot. In that visual, them on the stage with all of that gold and the briefcase. This is what WWE wanted, and I'm not going to lie, it looks pretty fucking sweet.
Judgment Day's over, man. Judgment Day is over.
But
Who
yeah,
would have thought that we would be saying that a year after Vince wanted to make them a supernatural entity? The Judgment is
mhm.
so much better this way. So freaking entertaining. I love this
But
stable.
as you were saying, now that they have the tag team championships,
Now that gives them an excuse to dominate television because now they can hop over to SmackDown. They are the undisputed tag team champions. They can mess with freaking whoever it is. They can mess with John Cena if they wanted to. Judgment Day is gonna run roughshod like an infection amongst the WWE roster.
and like I said, now that Priest and Balor have the tag team titles, if you think for 1 second that's going to stop Dominic Mysterio from piggybacking with them so he can go and fuck with his dad some more,
yeah.
literally recently in an interview, Dominic Mysterio said, "It doesn't matter that my dad has the United States Championship. I'm the champion of all of North America. That includes America,
I must have
Mexico,
missed that
and
interview.
Canada." It's fucking great. Dom is taking every single cheap shot at his dad that he can. And
Well,
yeah,
what why would he take cheap shots at his dad? He's dead.
I wish
Why-
you were still here so I could
Yeah.
smack you.
Yeah, no, why would he do that? Why would he do that? Eddie Guerrero is no longer
wish-
with us.
I wish you were still here so I could smack you.
I know.
Anywho, this was my match of the night. This gets 4.5 stars. This was
I'm
so
matching it.
fucking great.
Oh,
Fucking great. I loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. And it was literally in the middle of this match where that's where I got choked up a little. And I go, we are in a boom period of pro wrestling. You look at who's in the ring right now. Finn Balor, Damian Priest, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, Dom Mysterio. I fucking just love what the WWE is doing right now. And not just here, you look at what they're doing on Raw and SmackDown and AEW. And, you know, you have these even like side things like NXT and Impact. It's just like, pro wrestling is on such a great roll right now. And I'm so
Arguably,
happy. What a time to be alive. What
the
a time
best-
to be alive.
arguably the best overall quality year of pay-per-views that WWE has ever put out. Triple H has not missed one time this year. Like, it's crazy. Oh man, Payback. That was such a good show. Such a good show.
It was.
But
And we're not done yet.
we're not done yet. We have a few more things to talk about, but let's cool down a little bit. This next thing, a lot of people were like, "Oh, why is this talent getting relegated to a talk show segment?" Because you got to give Cody Rhodes something to do as the face of the promotion. Grayson Waller is holding his talk show with his SpongeBob text in the background. Cody Rhodes comes out and Grayson Waller is marking out and singing the song with him. Cody Rhodes goes to do his "so what do you want to talk about" line. This is where Grayson Waller cuts him off. And he's like, "It doesn't matter what Pittsburgh wants to talk about. This is my show. And I'm going to sit here and talk to you about what I want to talk about. You hear? I'm Australian."
Let me gush about Grayson Waller. I fucking love him. He is, again, yeah, it's another copy and paste, arrogant, douchebag, young heel, but he's such a good wrestler. And I don't know what it is about him. I just really fucking like him. He has put on some really good matches since he came up to the main roster. And yeah, this interaction with Cody Rhodes is great. It was then said that Cody Rhodes chose the Grayson Waller effect because he had a big announcement to make. And for some reason, I started connecting the dots in my head. And I was like, well, Cody Rhodes wasn't on Raw this past week. Why is he being announced for the Grayson Waller effect when Grayson Waller is a SmackDown guy? Cody Rhodes was on SmackDown the week prior to do the Terry Funk tribute, but I kind of brushed that off because I was like, you know, it doesn't matter. Cody Rhodes needs to be here to do the tribute. And I started connecting the dots in my head. There's nothing for Cody Rhodes to do on Raw. He's not going to challenge Seth Rollins. And he brought up a wrong that needed to be righted. And I was just like, Cody Rhodes is going to go to SmackDown. You know, all the pieces are there.
See,
you know, it's all there, but he threw a fucking curveball at us.
He did. I was sitting there predicting that he was going to call out John Cena for a match at Fastlane, which I still think that match is going to happen at Fastlane. And why at Fastlane? Why a B show? You need a big main event to sell that pay-per-view. You really do.
Yeah, and here's the thing. This is where things started getting a little weird for me, and this is my only issue with the segment. Cody Rhodes goes, "So you watch Raw, right?" And Waller says, "Yeah, I see Raw. You watch NXT, right?" It's like, "Yeah, that's where I came from." "You watch SmackDown, right?" And I'm like, Waller's on SmackDown.
Waller's on SmackDown. He doesn't need to watch his own show because he's on it.
Except for he only watches his own stuff because he's super vain. And I'm just like, and then Cody Rhodes throws a fucking curveball at us and says, "Well, welcome to the new member of Monday Night Raw, Jey Uso."
Yeah. Just out of the blue. Main event, Jey Uso walks out of the ring after quitting SmackDown. He is jumping ship to the Red brand to escape all of his toxic family members. Like a fresh new start for Jey Uso.
Yeah, Jey Uso quit SmackDown. And here's a couple of inconsistencies that kind of bother me. Cody Rhodes also said, oh, I used whatever pull I had backstage to make this happen. So that explains that. But in Jey Uso's promo, he said, I quit the Bloodline, I quit SmackDown, and I quit WWE. That's a little inconsistent there. I feel like if he would have cut it off at, I quit Bloodline and I quit SmackDown, it would have opened up possibilities to him coming to Monday Night Raw. It's a nitpick. I understand that, but it's a little inconsistency that bothered me. And here's what I thought. Why is Cody Rhodes making this announcement? And then I realized, unless he struck up a deal with Jey and he said, hey, look, Jey, I know you're going through a tough time on SmackDown. I have no personal issues with you, but I do have an issue with your cousin, Roman Reigns. He screwed me out of the championship in the biggest match of my life with Solo Sikoa. So why don't I cut a deal with you? I will move you to Monday Night Raw, and you can get away from all of that family drama, start a brand new, fresh start. I'll go to SmackDown so I can challenge Roman Reigns for the championship. But Cody Rhodes never brought up that he was going to SmackDown.
Did not say a damn word about it.
I feel like that was the most logical way to go, unless he surprises everyone on Friday. His music hits, he comes out, is like, oh, by the way, I forgot to mention a Payback. In exchange for Jey going to Raw, I'm on SmackDown now. I feel like that's the only way this can go, because you look at Raw, there's nothing for him to do on Raw. I don't want to see him challenge Gunther. As great of a match as that would be, Gunther would eat him for lunch. I don't want to see him challenge Seth Rollins, because that's not the end of his story. The end of his story is Roman Reigns in the WWE Championship. The championship
at WrestleMania.
Yeah. So again, the only logical direction for this is for Cody to go to SmackDown. But there was no mention of that. I hope that changes within the next few days. But here's another thing that was a little weird. Waller is taunting Jey, and Jey gives him a super kick. And again, this could be a Jey and Waller feud, but Jey just went to Monday Night Raw. So I don't understand. Yeah. It was a little confusing, but honestly, a really cool moment. I'm really looking forward to see what Jey Uso is going to do on Raw, because
it's going to be interesting.
Main event Jey.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. His Titantron now says main event Jey, and, well warranted. But yeah, so that's done with that talk show. Up next, let's get to these world title bouts, shall we?
For the Women's World Championship, it is Rhea Ripley of the Judgment Day defending against Raquel Rodriguez. How did we get here? It is very, very weird. Not weird, but like, meh.
Yeah.
Rhea Ripley injured Raquel Rodriguez's tag team partner in Liv Morgan. Not only on screen, but that was a way to write her up, because Morgan does have a real injury. That cost Rodriguez and Morgan their tag team titles. And now Rodriguez just wants revenge on Ripley. Kind of a very bland feud, in my opinion.
Yeah.
This on paper.
Which sucks. This
because should be a great match.
Yeah, Rhea and Raquel are literally best friends in real life. So this should have been the most personal, well-built-up feud to this pay-per-view. And when you look at this on paper, Rhea Ripley is still the dominant champion. You just got that image of the Judgment Day holding all the gold. There's no way they don't escape that pay-per-view without that image intact. Rhea, of course she was going to retain.
And in considering an NXT, Raquel Rodriguez, which I didn't really like in the beginning, I had the same issues you have with Zoe Stark now. I remember her absolutely stiffing the fuck out of Tegan Nox in her debut. Fucking giving her a nasty powerbomb on a table. But the way they were booking her on NXT, it grew on me. She was basically female Diesel. Her and Dakota Kai had the perfect partnership. And after they split up, she was booked as like Diesel. Very likable, very dominant in the ring. But ever since she got brought up to the main roster, she does two things: smile and flex her shoulders.
Yeah, that's her whole gimmick. That's her whole gimmick, is her shoulders. Like, you have
Vince McMahon took a syringe, stabbed her in her shoulder, sucked all of the charisma out of her, and said, go out there, smile, flex your shoulders. I don't want you to do anything else. And it's a shame, because she does have personality. She does have charisma.
Very much so.
Again, she has that Apollo Crews syndrome. Apollo Crews, fantastic wrestler, really commits to himself. He can do it, but he's too fucking smiley.
Yeah.
He has $1 million smile, but it doesn't really, if that's all you got to you, buddy, I don't know what to tell you. And that's Raquel Rodriguez. $1 million smile, $1 million body, nothing else.
Yeah, but this is certainly a very physical match for the beefy runtime that they got at 17 minutes. Again, given the foregone conclusion that this match was, I don't think the match needed to go that long.
No, this should have been a lady hospice, and unfortunately, it really wasn't.
No, Rhea Ripley applied the prism lock submission, which I just looked it up. That's what it's called, the prism lock, where she hooks both legs and just flexes it like inverse. Like, it's a gnarly looking hold. Raquel makes a bit of a comeback. They slap each other for a bit. Dominic once again runs interference for mommy. This fucker was all over the pay-per-view. Like,
yeah, a little overbooked here. I thought this was very unnecessary, but at the same time, this could be WWE's way of still protecting Raquel Rodriguez, which I get. But
yeah,
again, just like I said,
Raquel did hit Dominic with a running power slam, which I did enjoy. I did enjoy that a lot.
Yeah, it's just like, I don't know. It seemed a little unnecessary to me, but Rhea Ripley hits the Riptide and retains the Women's Championship.
Yeah.
I'm going to give this 2.25 stars.
Pretty simple.
That pains me to say. That pains me to say a lot, because I
feel
like these ladies could have done a lot more.
2.75 again, like, just like Mysterio in theory, like, you knew who was winning. Don't really think the match needed to go 17 minutes. Like, no. I don't know.
I don't want to say that, because we have been pushing and pushing and pushing for women across all of professional wrestling to be given more time. And they did get more time here. I don't remember the last time a one-on-one women's championship match not on WrestleMania got almost 20 minutes. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah, it's pretty darn, yeah. But Rhea Ripley continues her dominant reign that started at WrestleMania, so at least we still have that to hold on to. Hopefully Rhea Ripley has a long, healthy reign after this. I hope she holds the belt going into Mania. She should. And she should be the dominant final boss for whoever wins the Women's Royal Rumble. But I fucking love this segment, like, in hindsight, before the main event. John Cena, it was revealed, like, in this promo, The Miz was calling him out for not wearing all the suits, as the host of a pay-per-view should do. So John Cena responds to this by becoming a backstage correspondent with a pin-on pink bow tie. His fucking shirt is like tucked into his jean shorts, and then he's like, let me introduce my next special guests, the new Undisputed Tag Team Champions, the Judgment Day.
If there's two things I learned about Cena after following this man's life and career, he loves obscure references, and he loves old school wrestling. So the fact that he was donning like the Mean Gene Okerlund persona, that really like old school 80s backstage announcer, I loved it. He embodied it so well.
The funniest thing about this is he holds the microphone to Finn Balor, it zooms in on the Judgment Day, and Cena's squatting down so that he's shorter than Finn Balor.
I love that.
And I'm like,
if you want to see more of Cena like this, check out Southpaw Wrestling. Him and such a bro during that. Him and all the boys and girls got together, and they put together this fictional old school territory style wrestling promotion where they had all these goofy characters and they cut these goofy promos. It's one of the most endearing things you're going to see in your life.
I fucking love that segment, you know. Yeah. But the thing is, like, they go to leave, Finn and Priest go to leave to go and celebrate with the rest of Judgment Day after the very successful pay-per-view they've had. For some odd reason, I thought that Damian Priest was going to stay behind as Finn Balor celebrated, because he still had the Money in the Bank briefcase. He's still Senor Money in the Bank. And we still had a World Heavyweight title match to get to, which brings us to our main event of the evening. Seth freaking Rollins defending the big gold belt against Shinsuke Nakamura. Like, good Lord, it took way too freaking long for Shinsuke to get a pay-per-view main event, didn't it? It took way too freaking long. Way too long.
Did. And people were scared going into this match, or not going into this match, but before this match was even announced, that Nakamura, again, was newly drafted in Monday Night Raw. It felt like this was a breath of fresh air for him after being on SmackDown for 6 years. And, you know, this opened up a lot of possibilities. He was thrown into kind of a meaningless feud with Ricochet and Bronson Reed and Tommaso Ciampa. But after being recruited to be, no, not being recruited, but volunteering himself to be Seth Rollins and Sami Zayn's tag team partner in a 6-man tag, they would pick up the win. But afterward, Nakamura would attack Rollins, turning heel for the first time since 2018 after WrestleMania.
At
I was
least,
a little iffy about that.
Yes, Nakamura doesn't kick Seth Rollins in the penis. It's not that hard to turn heel. You don't have to hit anybody with a low blow. Like,
Nakamura did focus on an aspect of Rollins' body, but this was much more sinister. It was revealed the next week on Raw that Nakamura kept it very simple. He told Michael Cole, I did what I did to Rollins because I want the World Heavyweight Championship.
Simple
Rollins comes out and says, if you wanted the World Championship match, all you had to do was ask. And Nakamura whispers into Rollins' ear something in Japanese. They would wait an entire week to reveal what that was. And Nakamura says, I know about your back. Rollins has been wrestling through chronic injuries that he revealed for like 2 to 3 years now. A lot of untreated injuries. He does not want to get surgery. He does not want to not wrestle for the longest time. He is our proud world heavyweight champion, and Nakamura knows that he's hurt. So he is playing mind games with Rollins, telling him, I know that you're hurt, and I'm going to hurt you more, and I know exactly where to hurt you. This is basically the feud with AJ Styles, but done right. Because you remember, go back to the WrestleMania feud. What was Nakamura saying every single week on SmackDown? 48 days until I'm going to beat you. 31 days until I'm going to beat you. Need a face, I'm going to beat you at WrestleMania. He didn't do it, but it was mind games. Mind games.
Knee to face, like
Fucking
Shinsuke would say.
Nakamura.
Shinsuke's a big sex weirdo, and I love him. He's so fun. But yeah, so Shinsuke makes his entrance second, and there's actually a big, gigantic anime/manga animation of him like overcoming Seth Rollins and taking the burden of the World Heavyweight title off his back. And the focus of this match, this is a very...
Whoa. Before we start talking about this match,
go ahead.
It is very important to point out that when Rollins made his entrance, he stood in the ring for a bit while the fans sang his song, the lights dimmed, and all the fireflies came out.
Oh, that was cool. That was really cool. I feel really bad not mentioning that. Like, skipping over.
No, you're good, but we said it once, we'll say it again. The lantern may have been blown out for the last time, but the fireflies are going to stay lit forever.
Yep.
Thank you, Bray Wyatt.
Thank you, Bray. Miss you. But in any case, this match ruled. This is a great main event. Did we like it more than AJ Styles at Night of Champions?
Absolutely, we did.
I feel like it was a much better story. I feel like it was a much better story.
At its finest.
Nakamura being the weirdo that he is, the charismatic heel weirdo that he is. Like, they're doing their like stalemate at the beginning. They're still feeling each other out. Nakamura rubs Seth Rollins' back where he's injured, and I'm like, that is so uncomfortable.
I love that.
Oh, I freaking love it.
It was master manipulator, king of mind games. It was so good, and it wouldn't be the last time Nakamura would do that. Again, it was a huge focal point of the match, the back. Nakamura targeted the back, but he targeted it in such a way that was so anxiety-inducing. You could see it on Rollins' face. Like, he knows that if his back gets damaged enough, it's game over for his title reign.
And this is why Triple H makes it look so easy. Vince McMahon never figured out how to use Shinsuke Nakamura properly, and Triple H, within the span of just a few weeks, made Shinsuke Nakamura a legitimate assassin heel that could legitimately have taken the title off of Seth Rollins. I mean, I didn't feel like he would, even in this first match here. I feel like there's going to be another one, just depending on how, like, just judging from how this match ended. But my God, Triple H has done wonders with Shinsuke as a heel. Like, my next piece of advice, bring back Nakamura's heel theme so the crowd does not sing his theme song anymore. Like,
here's the
that's
thing.
what I loved about it.
That during the match. If you remember his first heel run, not only did Nakamura turn on Styles, I feel like he was turning his back on the fans. And he said,
you people.
Yeah. This time, it's really not about that. It's Nakamura just saying, I want the championship, and this time around, And here's the thing, he was getting rubbed the wrong way by guys like Ricochet and Tommaso Ciampa. Why? For sticking their noses into his business, and he was getting very frustrated. So now
Yeah.
Nakamura is only looking out for himself. So I feel like this dynamic around, it's not him turning on the fans. It's just, I'm going to do whatever it takes to get what I want. And you guys might not like that because I'm beating up your favorites now. I'm beating
Hey,
up,
a motivation that we can get behind for a villain? Who knew?
Yeah.
Wrestling does not have to be as hard as it has been
No.
in previous years. And like literally
Fine,
what
Vince.
he with Shinsuke Nakamura, it's so easy. It is legitimate,
Fine, Vince.
so easy.
You want us to call him Big Bronson Reed? Fine. Fine, Vince. You want us to call him Dirty Dominic Mysterio? That's fine. If that's all you're going to do, fine. Stay out of the big storylines. Triple H has got this.
Yeah, yeah. And these two wrestled a legitimate New Japan style main event. It was very physical. Seth Rollins' selling was out of this world in this thing. Like the back injury, you legit thought he was hurt. Every move, you thought it could have been the end of his career. Like he couldn't hit a buckle bomb in this match, so he had to resort to other styles of offense. He does hit Shinsuke Nakamura with the pedigree. The only thing is, the fucking director missed the Kinshasa to the back. Like they were showing a replay, and I wish we could have seen that Kinshasa like just in full view. You know, like
yeah, that must have been why I missed it too.
Nakamura goes, he goes for more finishers. He goes for more Kinshasas to Seth, and he is making his comeback. It's like great near falls towards the end. Rollins hits a pedigree, otherwise known as the dog food facebuster. And stay tuned for Backlash 2005 on this retrospective too. Nakamura just wants Rollins to get back up. Rollins collapses out of the pain, and this is a flaw in Nakamura's villainy. He got too greedy. He wanted to hit Rollins with one more Kinshasa, and Rollins just crumbles to the mat. And Shinsuke's like, I can't really pin him, can I? There was also a point where he almost choked Seth out with a triangle choke. And then once that, Rollins escapes it, he slips out of it. Rollins then hits a curb stomp for 1, 2, 3. Rollins had two arms over Nakamura's
sold,
chest.
By the way.
Pardon?
Beautifully sold by Nakamura. Beautifully sold by Nakamura as well. His eyes rolled in the back of his head after getting that curb stomp.
Glazed over.
Rollins pins and wins and retains the World Heavyweight Championship. This was a fantastic match, a perfect main event for the show. It's, people may complain that Roman Reigns isn't defending the title on every pay-per-view. That's why we have the World Heavyweight Championship now. Doesn't it feel great?
Yeah.
Almost guarantee a world championship is going to be defended on every pay-per-view now. This is why Seth Rollins is the workhorse, and this is why I don't want him to lose the title right now. Because of matches like this.
Not yet. But yeah, this match was awesome, man. 4.5. 4.5. Wasn't my favorite match on the night. Wasn't the most fun match to watch because you just felt so. It was such an anxiety-inducing match just because of the story of the back that they were telling. And every move that Rollins hit, every move of offense, every power move could have been the end of his career. Like they were selling that. They were selling that out the wazoo, and I thought it was fantastic.
Honestly, echoing all the words that you just said, this is what I wanted to see from the World Heavyweight Championship. I wanted to see new main events with new opponents. I never thought I would see Nakamura versus Rollins main eventing a pay-per-view. And that's what I want to continue seeing from. This is why I wanted 2 world championships on 2 different shows, because I want all of these guys, your Nakamuras, your Ciampas, your Bronson Reeds, your Mizes, your Ricochets, your Johnny Garganos, all these guys that deserve shots at a world championship.
Yeah.
They can't because one guy is holding the championship for damn near 1,100 days. 3 years.
Lord, don't remind me.
Fucking years.
Don't remind me.
There's no end in sight.
WrestleMania 40. But anyway, Payback.
We'll see about that.
Yeah, no, Cody's beating him, man.
He said that this year too. Just saying.
Yeah, but the only reason why Cody lost is for Roman to get to 1,000. But yeah,
there's always 2,000.
Payback, no, fuck off. Payback 2023, great show. I'm comfortable giving it an 8. It's the same rating as I gave All In, but the thing is, you had 3 4.5-star matches on this card. The rest of the undercard, pretty underwhelming. Rey in theory was okay. Rhea and Raquel could have been a lot better given their history. LA Knight and The Miz was a fun match, went a little bit too long, but I mean the other 3 matches on this card, awesome, and a great development with Jey Uso going to Raw. Thumbs up though from me.
I'm going to match your 8, but I've been doing a lot of thinking about ratings lately. I feel like I gave All In an 8 as well, but I feel like these are 2 different 8s. But to kind of explain my reasoning, I would give Payback a B minus, and I would give All In a B, if that makes sense. Like they're both still rather the same, but match quality, again, I loved both of these pay-per-views for different reasons. And I both gave them an 8 and not really justified it. Hopefully that makes a little more sense. Great wrestling, great wrestling. And it's going to continue because I feel like I'm the only person in the world that's excited for All Out tomorrow.
Especially with a match that was announced on Collision that I'm not going to spoil for Tomas because he's literally going to watch it right now. I'm excited to see it, though. So hit that subscribe button if you're new. Hit that thumbs up and check out the All Out review once that's out. Please be patient with us as we get out this content. Next up in the retrospective is Backlash 2005, a show that Tomas loved, but I feel like we're going to get into some debates on that show. But anyway, guys, stay tuned. And stay tuned. Keep an eye out for the next one.